Good afternoon, guys. I'm WUSA, Season 3, Episode 172, and today is Sunday. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode. I know it was a little bit weird to have that audio. I did it one time on a blackjack table as well, and I may do it again. But I don't know. I'm kind of split on whether it's worthwhile doing or not. I think on the blackjack table, if I go to a new area that doesn't know me, then maybe it would be worth it for me to record it for you and let you guys listen to what I say and how I act and things like that. But what was cool about yesterday's recording was the fact that that big hand happened during that time, where the guy tried to bluff me for 150 on the river, and I ended up calling him with two pair. Anyway, today is Sunday. We're heading out. Our goal is to hit 7 casinos. I've got a stiff neck from not sleeping the right way last night, and dealing with that right now. I took a couple of leave, and hopefully I'll feel better in a little while. Right now I'm heading out to my first casino. It is 91 degrees outside, very hot day. I'm gonna need gas after my first stop, and we'll see what happens. So we're gonna be playing blackjack at least once today. I may hit a casino that I can play blackjack also other than that first one, but I'm not sure. So once or twice blackjack, and the rest will primarily be slots, and we'll see what happens. I'd love to make 1,500 today. Just in case you were wondering, I have not input all the numbers into my spreadsheet. I have no idea where I am for August. I suspect it's okay, but not great. But we're just going to do what we're supposed to do, and we'll add it all up later on. So maybe Monday night or Tuesday night, I'll finish up the Excel worksheet and let you know what's going on. So that's what's going on right now, and I will be back to update you soon. Alright guys, I am back. So that was an experience for sure. I was in there over an hour, and I didn't play much, but there was some crazy stuff happening in there. So I walk in, it's a busy night, and I'm checking machines. There's nothing here, there's nothing there. I'm going around the corner, nothing there. And then I see a guy, one of the guys who actually works for the casino that banned me, and I see him. I just walk past, and I see he's playing a game that is going to eat him alive, because it is a game that's beatable, but it's so far off where it needs to be that he has no chance at all. So I felt kind of refreshed about that. I don't want to say happy for people's misfortunes, but so anyway, I continued on, and I see a machine. It's in position, and I've got a little bit of free play, so I run the free play through, and it hits, and I'm ahead like $100 on this machine. Well, the play wasn't over though, and I continued on. I lose my free play, and I lose the 100 I won, and now I go to put a $100 bill in the machine. Well, the bill acceptor will not accept money, and I'm waiting, and nobody's coming. So I make an awful decision that I hate to make, which is transferring my points to cash, which is, you get the worst deal when you do that. So I transferred points to get $100. I put the $100 on the machine, played $33 before I finally hit what I was going for, and it paid terribly. And I left the machine ahead, but barely ahead. Considering, I didn't put any money in, and I barely was ahead is not a good sign. And then, so I still had $67 in free play. So I find another machine that I want to play, but it's a scary one. It's $15 a spin. And I look at it, and I think about it, and I'm like, I've got to do it. And, when you play those machines and you get a big hit, 300, 400, 500, you're like, should I stop? But no, I know the play is there. I got to keep going. So I started with $300, lost that, put 300 more, lost that, continued to pump money into this machine until I had put a total of $1,300 in cash in this machine. And I was down to like $100 and something dollars when I finally hit what I was going for, ended up with a W2 for $1,891 on that. And then I went to the back area, found another play on a machine I hate, but it was so good I had to play it, and I played it through and lost $20 on that. And I'm like, this is the reason I hate this machine, you know. And then it took forever for them to pay me on the jackpot. It took like 40 minutes to pay me on the jackpot. So she finally comes over and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're still working on it." I'm like, what are you working on? What's taking so long? "Oh, we only have one person back there doing those, so it's going to take a minute." So you've got a busy Sunday, and there's a prize giveaway, and there's free play, and you only have one person working the jackpots? That sounds reasonable. So anyway, by the time everything was over, I ended up leaving ahead $814. And then there was, like I said, a prize giveaway. So I go to look, and because I had played that $15 machine, I had qualified for all the prizes. So I was carrying out like 45 pounds of prizes out of this place, and stacked over my head as I was carrying them out, and put them in the trunk, and finally left, like I said, ahead $814. But it was very frustrating having to wait that long for the payout, having the one machine not take my money, having to use the free play, and then having to find somewhere else to use the free play I just cashed in, which I hated to do, especially that much of it. At this place, it's such a bad deal to turn points into money. You're better off to turn it into food, but what are you going to do? So anyway, I am on my way to the next casino right now. I'll need to stop here shortly to get some fuel, and we'll see what happens. So right now it's 95 degrees outside, early evening, and I can't believe the temperature is still continuing to go up, but I'll be back soon. All right, guys, it is story time. Oh, MW, tell us a story about getting stranded on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. Okay, children, I'll tell you a story like that. So that's what happened to me. So I get gas, and at the gas station, right as I'm pulling into as I'm getting ready to leave the gas station, the light comes on that the engine is hot. I'm like, okay, no problem. It's probably the coolant, you know. But it wasn't the coolant. I actually put coolant in there after letting it cool off a little bit, put coolant in there, topped it off, started driving, got about 4 miles down the street. Next exit is about 10 miles away, and the hot engine light comes on again. And I look down, and it's pretty hot. I turn the heat on, and it gets me a little bit further, and soon it's just too hot, and even with the heat on, it's not working, and I had to stop. So I stopped, I slow it down, and I pulled to the side of the road and just kept on driving on the shoulder and just trying to get to the next exit. So 2 or 3 times I had to start and stop it, and finally got to the next exit. And at the next exit, there's nothing around. There's a gas station about 1.5 miles down. So I head that way, and I get down there, just taking it easy. I'm not trying to kill my car. And I finally get there. I park the car, get out of the car, go in the gas station, and they've got almost nothing in there. So what do? So they have coolant in there, which is what I thought I needed, but then something else came to mind. She told me that they had coolant, but it was the kind you had to mix and all that, and I thought, mix, that's right, you mix it with water. So mine was not the kind that you mix with water, but I thought, instead of buying a big jug of this stuff that I don't know anything about, why not just let the car cool? I'll put a little bit of water in there, and last time, if you'll remember, it was not a problem with the coolant, it was a problem with the oil being low. And a car like this burns a lot of oil because it's older, and so I was going going to get an oil change, but I never got a chance to get the oil change. I ended up going to the gas station that day, if you'll recall, and I got a new tire, but they didn't have time to do the oil change. It was hours out, so I never got it. So I sprung for a $7 whatever quart of oil, put that in there, and by then the car had cooled down a little bit. I put 20 ounces of water in there, and I started it up, and I waited about 5 minutes, no issues. Start driving down the road, no issues. So right now I'm on the highway. I've been on the highway for about 4 miles or so, and it seems like there's no issues. So I think I'm out of the danger zone, but I will need to get an oil change soon, get that nice synthetic oil in there, and that should help a lot. So I think everything is going to be okay now. Again, 95 degrees outside, that has to be the day that happens, but it makes sense. If you're low on oil, it can't keep the engine cool and lubricated, and of course, this is going to happen. So everything seems perfect now. No issues, no lights on the dash, and I'm okay. And right now I'm still a long ways away from the next place, so I'm going to sit back and relax, and I've got a little bit over an hour to go to the next spot, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. So, I went from being happy to being worried to being happy, up and down and up and down. So right now, I am just leaving the second stop, and I went in there and couldn't find very much at all. Actually, I only played a few slots, and then I went back and got my free food. I got some chicken tenders and fries, which I didn't eat the fries, trying to back away from that stuff. And it was pretty good. The sauce was a little sweet, but it was pretty good. And what can I say? The place was busy. Both places now have been busy. A little bit unusual. I don't know if it has anything to do with the weather being too hot and people are going indoors, or what the deal is. So we're going to move on to another casino here. We ended up ahead $78 there. But moving on to prime time right now. This is where the money is made and lost, and today we're going to make some money. I'm going to try to push it. I don't even care anymore about this place. If they want to back me off, they can back me off. They've been giving me hints about it lately, so it could be any time. So, and if I do get backed off here, the next place is canceled as well, because they communicate with each other. So what can I do? Right now, I'm going to move on to this next place. We're going to play some blackjack, and then I'll come back and update you. Alright guys, I am back. So, man, another busy one. Went into this casino, very busy. I went to the blackjack area first, sat down, started playing, bought in for 500, lost that right away. There was another guy at the table with me. He lost his. Bought in for another 500, lost that right away, and another 500, and messed around with that for a little while. Finally lost that, and on and on. And by the time I left that first table to switch tables, because the dealer had already gotten 6 blackjacks in the first deck and a half of the shoe, and there was no way. I mean, the count was just disgusting, and the aces were gone. So I decided to switch tables. There was one other table open that had no one on it. I switched over to that. At that point, I had bought in for a total of 3,000, right? No, for a total of 3,500, and I had 1,000 in front of me. And went over to the other table, had some quick success, and then gave it back to 1,000, and then just up and down at that other table. But it was at least moving slowly in the right direction. And after a couple more shoes there, I ended up leaving with 4,000, and I had bought in for a total of 3,500, which puts me ahead 500, and it was just a very miserable time. I probably in that hour pushed 95% of my 20s, and with the exception of one hand where I got a 9 for a total of 20. Every double down I had was a 6 or under. Every one was a 6 or under, and just miserable, and just losing and losing and losing. Double down against the 5, against the 6, against the 7, and just losing. And that first table was just awful. And I was kind of glad the other one opened up, and I had such a big negative count, I moved over to it. So then I looked at slots and saw a couple possibilities and hung out waiting, and none of those opened up in time. And one guy hit a W2. I didn't see the amount, but I knew it was really big because it was right there and it was ready to hit, and whatever, I didn't want to see him get paid. So then I noticed that there was still one more play on that machine, and this Asian lady came over and sat down next to him, started talking to him, and he continued to play. So I guess he's got that as well. So I left that alone, ended up playing no slots at all, ended up ahead 500 on the blackjack, and moving on, and just feeling awful about that stop. No positivity at all. The dealer, non-sympathetic, not the kind of person I want to hang out with at all. Not talkative, not nice. The other dealer was okay, but you know, she was barely average. Both of them slow dealers, so that gets frustrating. I'm going to move on to another place. I'm going to try to hit this place for something here, and then I'm thinking about playing blackjack, but I'm not positive. I don't know. We'll see. The last time I felt bad about playing blackjack, I lost whatever, $8,000 whatever dollars. So I got to go with my gut and how I feel, and we'll see how it goes. So we're going to do one more stop, and depending on how that goes, I'll decide which direction to go to a blackjack casino or go to a slots only casino, and you'll be the first to know, and I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm back. Absolutely gross here. I am a quarter mile away from the next casino, and there's a detour. The road is blocked a quarter mile from the casino. There is nothing going on. There's no people. They will not allow the cars through, and there must be 50 cars trying to go to this casino. So we're going in a straight line. They're having us turn right into a dead end, which is like 100 feet in, then do a U-turn in the dead end, then wait at a light that never turns green, and eventually people go straight through the light while it's red, and then stopped by another cop who waves you through, and then it's 4 miles to go around to the other side of the casino so that we can get in for no reason at all, no obvious reason at all. So that's what we're doing right now. We're taking the long way, I guess, and hopefully it's worth it. I've got a feeling this is the beginning of something not so great, but let's see what happens here. We'll turn it around. We'll do something different here. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. You can see how quiet it is here now. I am just leaving this next spot, and I was here way too long. I walked in, looked at slots first, found a couple small plays, and I was ahead $137 on those. This elevator doesn't look like, there we go. So I was ahead $137 on that. And then I went and looked at the blackjack area and found the table, but when I got there, the guy was in the middle of a shoe, and he is a very, very slow player. I'm telling you right now, he is such a slow player. He plays, his bet is like never an even number, so he'll put like 490 on his hand and 10 for the dealer, and then
GPS signal lost.
$50 or $75 on one side bet, and 25 or 50 on another side bet, and he'll be adjusting it and moving it around, and then, okay, are you done? Okay, I'm done. All right, let's go ahead and deal. And the dealer would deal the hand, and then he'd take his time. I gotta tell you, this guy screwed up my hand so many times doing the wrong thing. It was nuts. And every time I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm in good shape here. If I win this hand, I'll be up like 400, 500, whatever. Start looking at when I'm going to leave and all that kind of stuff. Boom, he'd find a way to destroy it. And I bought in initially for $500, spreading from $50 to $500. Now, here's the thing, though. This place is generally a little suspicious, and I generally don't really push it. However, this guy was betting anywhere between $50 and $1,000 a hand. He wasn't counting cards, I can guarantee you that. But he would vary his bet that much. And then later on, another player came to the table, and he was doing the same thing, varying his bet quite a bit. So I was in between them, and honestly, the average shoe, I timed it. Our average was about 15 minutes a shoe. So to me, that's very slow. I mean, I like 10, 12-minute shoes. And there's a hand shuffle also. But with all those shoes we played, I don't know how many there were, 12, 14, whatever it was. I was there for 2 hours and 50 minutes at that table. All those shoes, there was never a shoe that was an exciting high count shoe all the way through. There was one that started with a plus 10 right away, and then it fizzled out. And I was going to kind of keep an eye on that slug when they were shuffling, but I looked away when he separated the cards for the shuffle, so I lost it. So that doesn't say much for my concentration, but by the way, it's already 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll be time for work by the time I get home, so I'm pretty far away. I'm not even in the right state. So anyway, I ended up buying in for a total of $2,000. Now, I was in for a total of $1,500, and I got to 1950, so I was ahead 450. I still had positive counts and lost 7 hands at the end of that shoe, and it buried me, and the next shoe just wrecked me, and that's when I bought in the last 500. And at that point, my patience was wearing thin, but I was doing the right stuff. I was concentrating. I was kind of sick of all the jokes the other guy was making, but I was hanging in there and doing all the right things. And 5 or 6 times, it was right there. I was ready to leave, and I had high counts, and it buried me again. And I in that 2 hours and 50 minutes, and also at the last casino as well, but let's just talk about this one. 2 hours and 50 minutes at the table. Twice I got a 10 on a double down, and both of them were with a 10, so I got a 20. I didn't even get a 21. And multiple times I had an 11 and got an ace or a 2, and just heartbreaking every time. The dealer's got a 7 or an 8 up, and you're just dead. You have no shot at all. And so that was really frustrating. I ended up leaving with 2,700, so I was up 700 at the end of a shoe. And the dealer's like, "What, you're leaving?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I'm leaving. I've been here way too long. I like to be here for a couple shoes, get up 500 or 700 and get out." But so at that point, I go to the cashier, and I know this place. They're going to ask you for ID at 1,500, and some of them are stubborn. And I decided, you know what, I don't know when I'm going to be here next time. I don't want to carry your darn chips, so I'm cashing them out. So I did ask for $500 chips at the table. So when we get to the desk, they understand that you don't have a player's card, most likely, because you have all 500s. And she says, player's card? And I said, no. She said, ID? And I said, no. And she walked away and made a phone call or whatever and gave me my money. No fuss, no muss, no coconuts. You know how it is. And that's one thing I would want to tell people. Every time that I've ever had a person not let me cash out was because I started an argument right away for no reason. She asked me, I know for a fact that they can do this here. Now, there are other places that have a strict 3,000 and they give you a real hard time, and I get that. But when I said no to ID, I didn't say, well, I don't need it. Well, the law says this. I just kept my mouth shut. Like in sales, when you give your pitch to someone, you zip your lip. The first person to talk loses in sales. And this is the same thing. This is social engineering. And the less friction you give them, the less friction they're going to give you. And it worked out. She paid me out. And then on the way out, I saw this incredible machine I had to play, even though it's so late right now. So I went and I played the machine, and I made 5 cents. So I ended up ahead a total, actually, of 138 on the slots and 700 on the blackjack. So it ended up being a nicer day. And I just did not want to leave that place even or down slightly or up slightly. I wanted to make at least 500 to 1,000. I just, as much time as I put into it and as little friction that I had with the dealer and the pit boss and everything was going smoothly. I figured, why not just go for it? Why would I leave money on the table? So everything all worked out there. Now, I am in the middle of nowhere. Like, there are no lights on the highway. There are some reflectors on the highway, but not many. And there is currently 0 cars in front of me, 0 cars behind me on this highway. So I'm going to sit back, relax, enjoy the ride, be comfortable, be safe, and I'll be back to update you. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you one other thing. This dealer that we had that ran the brakes, the other dealer was this really short lady, and I'll tell you about her first. So she's there, and this pit boss comes out of nowhere to run a break for the other pit boss, and he says, and I hope I'm not gonna let them figure out who I am here, but he says, did you see that we had someone peeping in the bathroom? And she's like, what are you talking about? And he says, so-and-so was on break, and she was in the bathroom, and she looked up, and there was a guy looking over the stall down at her. And she didn't have time to tell security because she had to get back from her break. Don't you like jobs like that, by the way, that your personal safety has to take a back seat to not being late because you don't want to get demerits or points or anything? Think about that. You ever had a job like that? You show up 48 seconds late, and now you're late, and they have 2 points, and you get this many points, so you lose this, and whatever, you get suspended or whatever. That's just ridiculous that they treat people that way. But I guess then she went back to her post dealing, and she told the pit boss, and so he called security, and security said, oh, well, we just heard that he was in a different bathroom doing the same thing. Wow, that's amazing security, amazing surveillance that you don't even know. That's fine, and hopefully everybody's safe, but whatever. So anyway, when she goes on break, this other dealer comes, and he was telling us how he knows everything about blackjack. He knows the tricks. He knows when to bet. He knows all the charts, and he knows card counting, and that's why no one ever makes any money card counting there, because he knows how to catch them and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there looking him straight in the eyes, smiling at him and letting him go on and on. And there's a saying when I used to train people for sales, and the saying was, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? And it's the same thing here. Do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Let him talk and say whatever he wants, and let him be joyous and happy and entertaining all the people with all his knowledge. And he is so amazing and a wonderful person and so smart, and I'm just a dumb player, and I left with their money, so that's what matters. So there was a guy also at this place a few years ago. I mentioned him on the podcast, I think. He was like a Marine, and he says that he's their card counter catcher. And I'm like, okie doke. And I remember so clearly, I don't remember the episode. Some of you guys who have emailed me recently are still in season 1. And you probably heard it recently where he had told me that, and then I raised like from 200 to 400 to 600 or something on him. And right when he was telling the story about how he catches card counters. But anyway, I'll be back. Alright guys, scrambling here, trying to get from place to place before work starts, and continuing my journey here. I just stopped at another location, quick in and out, about 15 minutes, and I found a bunch of plays, but unfortunately the big play lost money, so I only ended up ahead $64. So $64, I was all excited about all these great plays I found and didn't end up with much. But I'm moving on to another casino right now, almost 5 o'clock in the morning, and I should be home by 8 o'clock in the morning, and I should be leaving home by 8 o'clock in the morning. So if I can get in and out of this next place in 15 minutes, I can be home in time to take a shower and leave the house. And we'll see how the day goes from there. So right now it is 70 degrees, and continuing my journey. It's been a long one. It's been a crazy one. Car trouble, trouble at the tables, machine troubles, taking too long to pay out jackpots, but we're surviving and we're thriving. So moving on. I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. I'm just leaving the parking lot of this casino, and man, I tried to go as fast as I could, but I got held up. There were some plays and I had to play them. It took some time, and I made a mistake. Actually, there is a machine that I play that when it prints out the voucher, if you have your hand anywhere near it where it comes out, the voucher will bump into your finger and will not come out of the machine, and then you have to wait for someone to come take care of it for you. Luckily, when I finished on that machine, I was playing the machine next to it, so I had time, and the guy came and cleared it out for me, and I was all set. But that is very annoying that happens with that specific type of machine. Other than that, just played little plays here and there, and they kind of added up and made themselves into something. After I was done, right now I'm running like 7 minutes late, which means if I go straight home, I'm going to get home 7 minutes after I'm supposed to leave for work. So I'm going to take it easy right now until I get on the highway, but try to pick up a couple minutes on the highway, then get home, take a quick shower, and get in the office as soon as possible. I ended that session ahead $242. I don't know where I am here for the day. 9, 14, 21, 22, 23, 25, about 25.50 for the day. So that's a good day. Low stress, a little bit boring at times, but low stress. It was just that first blackjack table that I played at that gave me any kind of trouble. Other than that, I may not have been winning the whole time, but things were under control, and I was okay. Time was the only thing that was not on my side, and a lot of things happened today that slowed me down. I left home late. I had problems with the car. I had a jackpot that took forever to pay out. I was stuck on the second blackjack table for a long time, and then this machine getting clogged up, but really that didn't slow me down. But I think all those things together probably cost me 2 hours, and I would have been more on the normal schedule if those things hadn't happened. But I can't complain. We made money. We're moving forward. I'm going to do my best in the next couple days when I finally get some sleep to update my spreadsheet and kind of report to you what's going on. We are at the end of the month now, so I need to do it probably by the 2nd or 3rd of September. But hopefully I'll have a good idea in the next day or two. That's about it. Believe it or not, the temperature's already going up for the day. It's already 72 degrees. It's starting to get light out, and I'm continuing my trip home right now. What did you eat today, MW? Early today, this morning, not sure what I had early this morning, but when we got home from church, I grilled some bacon and kind of learned my lesson. Don't do that because there's a lot of grease in bacon, and I actually used the fire extinguisher to put it out. By the time everything was done, I got all the bacon off first and then put it out with the fire extinguisher. So next time we'll be doing it inside. But I had some nice BLTs, very tasty. We had some corn, some potatoes, and salad, and that was lunch. And then for dinner I had those chicken strips, no fries, and I'd rate our BLTs, they're thick cut bacon, cooked perfectly. I rate those probably a queen on a scale of 2 to ace, and the chicken strips I would probably rate a 10 on a scale of 2 to ace. So, and what did you tip today, MW? I did win one jackpot at the first casino. I tipped $10 on that, and that's all I tipped. I did not have any use for any waitresses or anybody else that might require a tip, and definitely would not tip a dealer. So even after playing over 4.5 hours, probably about 4 hours of blackjack tables, I did not tip anything at all. So anyway, that's what's going on right now. I'm going to let you go, and we'll do a new episode for Monday and Tuesday. They probably won't be very exciting, but you never know. Might get some poker in there or something like that. And if you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.